It's time for Wave 3. It's time for Wave 3 Listens Live on Kentuckiana's first live local TV talk show, all hosted by John Ramsey. This is Wave 3 Listens Live.
And welcome, beautiful day. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Wave 3 Listens Live. Once again, we have a jam-packed show. Let's take a look at the rundown. Here's what's on today's show. Preservation Louisville, do you have old tile in your home? Well, the folks at Preservation Louisville, of course, are experts when it comes to preservation. We'll talk about how you can clean, repair, and maybe even install some tile in your home. Goodwill Industries of Kentucky is here, and Goodwill is going to talk about March Gladness. Everybody's ready for March Madness. Get ready for March Gladness. A big award ceremony is coming up. Mr. and Miss Kentucky Basketball. It is so much more than that. I have my good friend Billy Reed. He's going to be on the show to talk about that, along with a couple of other guests, and we're pretty excited about this event. I think you'll love it if you love basketball. And Dr. Eli Karam is with us once again. He is a licensed marriage and family therapist. If you have any calls regarding your family, couple, maybe you're getting in a relationship, maybe you're breaking up, maybe you're getting married this spring, whatever the case may be. This man, let's get in front of it. Let's be proactive. 571-5263. Dr. Eli, how are you today?
Good to see you, John.
I'm good to see you as well. Now, when I say anything regarding couples, family, relationships, it's all encompassing, right?
Yeah, marriage and family therapists. They're going to see anybody in their interpersonal relationships. So whether you're coupled, whether you're not, we want you to call in today like we always do and fielding all your questions.
This is reality television at its best, folks. I love this. I love this segment with Dr. Eli because it's good sound advice, and I have to admit it, I steal a little bit from you.
That's all
because
right.
Everyone has issues with their wife or their husband. It just happens, and this man is a professional. He can help you out. All right, we're going to start off with an email. And by the way, for folks who would like to email you, Doc, which is the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can do two things. You can email directly to KMFT at twc.com, or you can go to the KMFT.org, which is the Kentucky Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, which I represent, which there are of about 400 licensed marriage and family therapists in the state of Kentucky, many centrally located in Wave Country, and you can send us an email through there, in addition to seeing all of our past segments on the show here, starting back in January last year.
All righty, here we go. Let's go with the first email. I've heard you mention rules or rituals of connection on your segment several times over the past year. You also mentioned something about research and spending 15 minutes with your partner every day. Could you explain more in detail what that means? And could I have that with my spouse? And how could I have that with my spouse? We love each other, but with kids and work, I'm finding it increasingly more difficult to connect as we enter our 5th year of marriage. Rhonda. So this is one of those, help me, Rhonda, help me. Can you help Rhonda?
Yeah, we can help Rhonda. And she sent in an email to the website, like we were just saying. So Rhonda, so I do mention a lot of things on the segment. So one of those things is when you're in a relationship, and you're into your 5th year of marriage, and there might not be any big traumatic event or cataclysmic fight, but you're just kind of stably disconnected. And as you were mentioning in your email, people get disconnected for a number of reasons. They have work, they have kids, and they might even be really great co-parents, but they're not nurturing the couple, even though they kind of love each other. So they're operating on out-of-date knowledge. So rituals of connection, that was defined by a marital researcher named John Gottman, who writes a lot for the public about what makes relationships succeed or not. So the concept of rituals of connection are these, and you were right, it's about 15 minutes a day. Ritual of connection are things like before you leave in the morning, before departure, reunion, when you get home from work in the afternoon, and then kind of when you go to sleep at night. If you go to sleep at the same time, which is a good habit to get into if you're on the same schedule. So it's how couples connect in those times. So, you know, the nice dates, the gifts, the vacations, those are really good, but they're not practical for every day. So rituals of connection are things you can do to focus on each other, kind of keep knowledge of your partner's world. So it is something you look forward to. It is no screen time. We talk a lot on the show how people can be in the same room, but not not really focusing on each other. You got the iPad, you got the TV, the
I think a lot of
DVR.
folks out there are nodding, going,
Yes.
I live in that
And
world.
some people are multitasking, have multiple screens in front of them at a time now.
Yep.
Well, no screen time. You turn everything off, and you just get a sense of that partner's world. What is going on with them? What is happening that day? So when you do that, John, you're really promoting connection. So it's developing a sense of curiosity for your partners, even though you might see them every day, and you might not. You might know what their favorite things are, but do you stay up to date? Have you stayed up to date with what they're into, their world? So do you know the cast of characters at their work? Do you know what's going on during the day when you're not together? So it really stoking this curiosity and making it, kind of a commitment. And it doesn't have to be long. Like I said, Gottman's research showed it was only about 15 minutes a day that couples that can make time for each other to really connect in this way. And obviously with verbal connection also comes physical connection. So if you build up good interactions with your spouse throughout the day, it's naturally going to lead to physical connection. I don't necessarily mean just sex, but for a lot of couples, especially long-term couples, as we've talked about on the show, you got to feel emotionally connected before you can feel physically connected. So I hope that helps you, Rhonda, and thank you for the email.
That daily conversation is important because that's also a way for me to keep up with my wife's boyfriend. I know what he's doing. I feel good about
That's
things.
right. You know about all the significant characters. Yeah.
Of course, I'm joking, and we're not trying to take this lightly. Serious business here. Let's talk to Teresa, who has been nice enough to call. Teresa, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Eli.
Hey, Teresa, go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Eli. Yes, my husband and I have been married for 11 years. We've endured ups and downs, mostly more hardships, more so than none. Is there a point in a marriage where you have to say that, hey, we can't salvage what we have and we need to cut our losses, or is there a point where you can, there's no turning back?
That's a really tough question, but a good question. So I really applaud you for being brave to call in and say that. So yeah, how do you decide when is enough and what can be repaired and what can't? So marriage and family therapists can definitely help you with that. There's a period called discernment, where you go in and you see a marriage and family therapist. And discernment therapy or discernment counseling, therapist is going to meet with you and your spouse together to get a lay of the land, to see what those obstacles are, and then individually for a period of 3 to 5 sessions. And in that time, you're going to discern, do I want to stay in this relationship or not? Now, obviously, you talk about successful couples. A lot of times, if you've had a lot of things Teresa, in the last 11 years, they can't probably be changed. So some couples really bang their heads against the wall trying to solve problems that are perpetual, that are unsolvable. So successful couples learn to develop tolerance and acceptance for what they can't change. So you'd have to think of those issues in your relationship with your husband, and you'd have to say, are those things that I can accept and tolerate, or are these things that keep happening? The other thing is, too, the old adage, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. It's this idea of if you keep having these perpetual patterns and your spouse promises to correct that but doesn't, it's probably not a good sign. And certainly things like infidelity, substance abuse, some of these are perpetual problems that wreak havoc on the whole family system if they're not fixed. So I think the other thing that would be hopeful in your case is your husband open to working on it, or is he just kind of said, this is how it is and I don't really want to work on it?
I've noticed a change in him, but it's after a while, it's like some of the love has been lost through all the things that have occurred. So I'm just wondering if I can get those feelings back.
Yeah, well, these rituals of connection I'm talking about. A marriage and family therapist can, different than any other mental health profession, psychology, counseling, psychiatry, marriage and family therapists are going to come from a strength and health perspective. So they're going to tap in to what you and your husband had, even if it's been dormant for a long time, and try to rekindle that and try to set you forward, move into the future. Doesn't mean we won't go back into the past, but marriage and family therapists generally only go into the past if that past is affecting them in the here and now. So I think it would be, if he's on board, I think it would be a good idea for you to, consult, again, a licensed marriage and family therapist, an LMFT. Thank you for your call, Teresa.
Teresa, really appreciate it. And I feel for Teresa because when you have that kind of struggle, that kind of conflict with your marriage with someone you love, that affects your entire life. I mean, you become consumed with it. So we do encourage you, Teresa, a licensed marriage and family therapist, someone like Dr. Eli. If you'd like to talk to Dr. Eli about any marriage, family issue, 571-5263. More with Dr. Eli coming up right here on Thursday edition of Wave 3 Listens. Welcome back. We are fielding calls about marriage and family issues. Actually, Dr. Eli Karam is fielding calls. 571-5263. He's the professional. I don't pretend to know anything about your business, but I am fascinated by some of your knowledge. It's great stuff. Had a gentleman call, and he was a little upset, but I thought it was worthy of passing along. He said he was married for 57 years. His wife passed away, but he said he wanted to know what your thoughts about going to bed at the same time. He said he and his wife did that, and it helped keep them together.
Yeah.
I guess you have, it's conversation. Not only intimacy happens during that time, but the conversation, like you said, getting caught up with each other.
Yeah.
How was your day? You okay? How you feeling?
It's one of those rituals of connection. So I appreciate the call. And sometimes when people call, it's a brave thing to do, and certainly we respect that. And it helps a lot of other viewers out there that may be going through the same thing but don't have the wherewithal to call. So going to sleep at the same time, big deal. Ritual connection, share information, something you can look forward to at the end of the day. And you see a lot of couples that get disconnected really quickly when they're on different schedules, or they don't, or worse, they start sleeping in different rooms or vegging out in front of the TV and someone goes to the bedroom.
Yeah, I was telling my wife dresses to bed though like she's an army tank. You need weapons of mass destruction to get through some of this, but that's another issue. Okay, let's talk to Barbara. Barbara is with us. Barbara, good afternoon. You have Dr. Eli.
Yes, my question is, I have a boyfriend, and he accuses me of having another boyfriend all the time.
Mm-hmm. He's a jealous guy, huh, Barbara?
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me ask you this: do you have another boyfriend?
No.
Okay, good. All right, then in the general rule in any relationship, how long has this relationship been going on?
We've been together 3 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. So, are you cohabitating, living together?
Yeah, I'm happy with him and everything, but it's just that the accusing all the time.
Sure, right. So this idea of transparency, we talk about it all the time in committed relationships, whether you're married or not. It should be transparent. If your partner wants to see your phone, they want to see your email, it shouldn't be a problem, because the general rule of thumb, if you're doing something, even if it's with somebody else, someone of the opposite sex, coworker, friend, you should have, even if you're doing it by yourself, you should imagine your partner there. And if you're not doing anything wrong, it's probably okay. If you wouldn't want your partner there, wouldn't want them hearing the conversation or reading the message, probably a slippery slope. So in your case, this pattern of jealousy, does he have this in other relationships historically before yours? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I think all you can be is transparent and offer assurance. And if he is overly jealous for no reason, that could point to a couple of things. Some kind of trauma in his background, or that he was cheated on, or just generally that he has kind of trust issues. So if those are important to know before you deepen the commitment, if you would, to the next level. So again, marriage and family therapist, you went and saw any LMFT, they're going to help you, again, establish a way to talk about that, to establish transparency, and to fight fairly, and how for you to reassure your boyfriend when he gets jealous. Thank you so much, Barbara, for calling.
Appreciate it. That may point to some insecurity, It's like he doesn't feel real secure with this relationship. But as you said, that would probably be more than a phone call.
Yeah.
But you need to reach out to a licensed marriage and family therapist. All right. Christina is here with us. Christina,
hello.
Welcome to the show. This is Dr. Eli.
Hi, Mr. Eli. How
Hey, Christina, what's going on?
Not too good, Mr. Eli. I lost 50 pounds because I've been depressed. I don't eat. I don't sleep. My husband had an affair. Well, he's my fiance. He had an affair about 2 months ago, and I don't sleep. I can't eat. I don't do nothing. What can I do to get out of this depression?
I'm sorry to hear that, Christina. Now, so obviously people think of traumatic events, and they think of accidents, natural disasters, but certainly if you have a lot of trust in your relationship, and then something like that happens in your marriage or committed relationship, it's a big deal. So and a lot of times it can mimic a traumatic event, including kind of a deep depression. So did you have any of those issues before this, Christina?
Yes, before, yes.
You did? How long have you been having those issues?
About a long time ago, but it stopped. My depression stopped. I was doing fine and everything else, but now it's gotten pretty bad now, because I don't eat, I can't sleep,
Yeah, well, let's talk about what you and if any viewer out there is experiencing that you do. So yeah, a depressive episode like Christina's talking about these are the kind of symptoms you see, as she mentioned, either a loss of appetite or kind of excessive eating, a change in appetite, emotional eating. You see a loss in concentration, things that you used to do that were exciting to you or fulfilling, they no longer give you interest, and also the ability to just feel like you're kind of underwater, you can't cope, you can't get out of bed. So that when you have something like that, it could be caused by an event like the infidelity in Christina's relationship, or it could be caused, and it sounds like in this case, since it's happened before, a biological factor. So in that case, meaning something in your biochemistry, something kind of out of your control. So when you have a chemical imbalance, the only way to treat that, in fact, there's a lot of studies that show the best treatment for this type of depression that you might have is kind of talk therapy combined with seeing a psychiatrist, or if you have a good family doctor, to get on an antidepressant. So I would definitely suggest you go and see your doctor, and then contact a therapist. And many therapists, obviously, different orientations can work with depression. However, other research shows in our MFT, marriage and family therapy profession, if there is marital conflict or relationship conflict like you've had with your spouse, the best way to go is to do couples therapy, because you not only learn the tools for depression, your partner will learn them there, and you can repair the tear that was caused by his transgression. So, I hope you can get some help, and if you want to talk to the producer, Christina, I can point you in the right direction of where to go and who to see. So, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Christina. Sorry for what you're going through. Doctor, sometimes folks, they misinterpret looking for professional help, whether it be from a medical professional or a licensed marriage and family therapist, as a weakness. And I think they've got to understand that these are real issues. As you mentioned, I thought it was interesting when you said to Christina, this may be something beyond your control.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as just waking up and getting out of depression. It could be something chemical.
Hey, if you were a diabetic, you wouldn't feel bad about taking insulin. It's the same thing. If you have, most people, there's a stigma on mental health. Again, marriage and family therapists can work with you to eliminate that stigma. If you have a chemical imbalance, you need what I call it the right medication to create the mental space, to lengthen the fuse, if you will, so you can do the work.
Makes sense.
Sure.
All right, Dawn is with us. Dawn, if we can't get the complete answer to this segment, we'll move it to the next one. Welcome to the show, Dawn. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I'm calling. What it is my fiance, I've been with him 3 years, and I do set the timers on the cell phone. I'm guilty of that because when he leaves, he calls his ex-fiance. And I've called him up, a few times. Well, he just done it 2 nights ago. And I don't know whether to stay or whether to leave.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Now, is he honest about that? Because that would, again, lead to many people, when they end a relationship, they stay friends with the people they ended a relationship with. And in fact, even many people that divorce, even if they don't have children, or certainly if they do, stay in contact with their exes. So that is not an uncommon thing. Again, what we said in the earlier call, if it is done in secret, that would not be a good sign. Or if you did not understand the relationship, or if you were threatened by the relationship and you asked him not to, and he did, that would probably be a bad sign. So have you talked to him about it?
Yes, I have.
And what has he said?
He lies, of course, and then I told him, I reset your cell phone, and he finally admitted it. And he said he was sorry for it, but I just don't know whether to stay or whether to leave, because I can't live like this, because I'm good. I stay at home, I cook, I clean, I do what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, well, the kind of general rule of thumb, as I said, that if it is a threat to the relationship, and if he wants to focus on a committed, monogamous relationship with you, he shouldn't be entertaining those other relationships. So again, I would make those boundaries pretty clear. And then the worst thing you can do, though, if you're not prepared to leave, as many people threaten divorce or do things like that, but they don't have a plan, they really care about the other person, they're not prepared to leave. So it's this partial reinforcement. You get very upset, you tell them you're going to leave, but your actions show otherwise. So you really, you should be also sure, if you're not prepared to leave, you shouldn't say that, because that could unintendedly reinforce his behavior. Yeah, but he wants wants to be transparent and you want to make him know that he can't have both, that he wants to be in a relationship with you, that means he has to say a goodbye to his ex. Thank you for your call.
All right, more calls on the way. Okay, in the interest of transparency, I'm going to be honest. You said it's not uncommon for someone to be friends with their exes. Is it also not uncommon? Because I have to admit, I would have an issue with that. I don't know if I want my wife, my girlfriend, whatever the case may be, to have a relationship with her ex, with his or her ex. That does bother me. Does that speak to my insecurity? Is that what that is?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it depends. How do you know that other person? What is that other person's intention? At the end of the day, you don't know that third party. All you can do is trust your spouse or your partner, and if you trust them, you know where they're coming from. It's probably going to be okay.
All right. Fair enough. All right, more of your calls coming up. Dr. Eli's here again. That's the Kentucky Association of Marriage and Family Therapists. Check them out online. We have one more segment with Dr. Eli coming up. Your calls are welcome. 571-5263. We'll be right back. The Kentucky Association for Marriage and Family Therapists. You were former president. Do you remain president of that association?
I'm the past president. I'm on the national board now. So next week I won't be here. I'll be in Washington, D.C., kind of advocating for the profession of marriage and family therapy. But yeah, we have a great association here. We just put on our conference in when you go to that website, kmft.org, you're going to see all the members from Kentucky that are licensed marriage and family therapists. Yeah.
All right. A wealth of knowledge from Dr. Eli. Let's go to the phones and talk to Cynthia. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Hey, Cynthia, what's going on?
Yes, I have a question.
Go for it.
You said you've been married for 57 years. How can that be?
No, I haven't been married for 57 years. John was talking off the stage, a caller. I've been married for a little over 10 years, yeah, or with my wife. It's actually her birthday today, so I'll say happy birthday to my wife. But no, I have not. But 57 years, that's a good run. Any couple that's been married that long usually has found a way to make it work. You have another question?
Okay, another question. You said for the person to go on time together or something like that. Okay. What if I want to watch TV?
Okay.
And that person wants to go to see, you know what I mean?
You mean you don't have a show you like together?
Not really.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, one of the things, it's, you know, you don't have to be exactly like your partner, but it is nice to have some things in common, whether it be some type of activity or certainly exercise or outdoor event. Or a lot of people have their shows, and sometimes now with DVR and even Netflix phenomenon, people will find something they kind of like and they'll do what is a technical term now, binge watch. Have you ever done any binge watching?
I think I have.
Yeah,
yes, I'm
guilty. You can find something with your partner that you like, and sometimes you don't even have to really super love it. Other than you see your partner's into it, it kind of promotes connection. You sit next to them on the couch, but you wouldn't want everything that you're doing. Sometimes I hear couples, all they do is watch TV together. That's probably not good either. They might not be talking. They might not be sharing their world, as we said earlier. So maybe you guys can meet in the middle. Maybe you can find a show that your partner likes, and he can find one that you like.
There you go.
Thanks.
Thank you for the call. Once again, 571-5263. Dr. Karam, for folks who reach out to you online, I realize, of course, you handle a couple of these here on air. You field a couple of them on air. Do you reply to all of them, or do you refer them to a licensed marriage and family therapist?
Yeah, we'll address them all. If you send in an email to kmft.org, or that's the website, or kmft@tv.org, twc.com is the direct email. We will either put it on the queue to answer it on air, or sometimes you have a really good question and we'll develop a whole segment around it with tips. But if not, you want a therapist, we're going to refer you to what I'll tell you about right now, www.therapistlocator.net. And that is a great resource provided by the American Association of Marriage and Family Therapy, the AAMFT, of which I'm a member of, you see there. And what you hit is that rectangular box that says locate a therapist. And you are going to see, you put in your zip code, you'll see a listing of all the therapists in the area, their profile. Most of them have websites. You go on there, you find someone that seems like a good fit for you. There's marriage and family therapists of all ages, shapes, sizes, denominations. Whatever you want, you can find it, and you should be able to call any marriage and family therapist, licensed LMFT, and they should be able to talk to you about 10 or 15 minutes. You get a good fit for them. If you want to make an appointment, you can. Most marriage and family therapists take all kinds of major insurance, and that's how you set it up.
All right. Dr. Eli, I wanted to comment because we're upcoming, wedding season is coming, usually springtime, and I think it was really smart. You were talking about on a previous show that you do a little like pre-counseling. Yeah. Things maybe to get ready for. There may be some red flags that you're not aware of, and I like the proactive approach. So for those who know someone who may be getting married, how does that process work?
Good question. So you want to go again to find a marriage and family therapist that does premarital counseling. Now, many people will required, if you get married to certain denominations or in a church, to go through this. But some people don't want a kind of faith-based bent to it. They want an outside source. So yeah, you can call any marriage and family therapist, and you can have either a preset kind of curriculum, so 6 sessions, or you can have kind of open-ended. You come in with them with your concerns. But yeah, as we say before, prevention is the best form of intervention. So a marriage and family therapist is going to show you these predictable roadblocks on the family life cycle. They're going to help you get a game plan. So when they happen, so when, as number one, most common, when kind of marital satisfaction or sexual satisfaction dips after the birth of the first child, you don't freak out. You know how to handle it. That's one example. Preparing you for a lot of other things, including dealing with your in-laws, talking about merging. A lot of couples have trouble, especially if they've been married before. They have waited to get married. So how do we merge our money? How do we merge our stuff? Do we do it all together? Do we keep some things separate? Premarital work is going to help you do that, and any licensed marriage and family therapist is going to be able to help you do that. So it's definitely a good idea.
All right. Here at NBC, here of course we have The Voice, and one of our highest rated shows. The Olympics are highly rated, and then it's Dr. Eli, here on Wave 3. So you coming back to see me?
I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'll be in Washington, D.C. next week.
All right, you mentioned that. That's right. Dr. Eli will be back. One of our favorite Thursday segments. Coming up, we got another great segment. Who's the best basketball player in Kentucky? Who's the best high school player? We're going to find out. It's a big award ceremony coming up. It's much more than that. If you love hoops, you're going to love what we're talking about. Coming up next on Wave 3 Listens.
I'll take it. You got it. All right.
Okay, we got video of the 2 kids playing.
You want us?
Y'all can decide which seat you want.
Where you go ahead, whatever. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
because I'm
familiar with them.
Because I'm here. We're talking about Mr. and Miss Basketball.
I'm Shannon Kogan. It is